This one only records so it does 30 minutes and then we have to stop. Okay.
Okay, good.
Marcos, let's do it. How you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine, and you?
Yeah, good. Right. Do this. This. Okay, perfect. And then you take that one there.
Yeah.
And that there. Okay, so I'm here today with Dietrich Bruchmann, who is the CEO of Nuvisan. Nuvisan are an organisation which are now sitting at around 850 employees globally. They have a site in France, Sophia Antipolis, which focuses on the CDMO part of the business, and then they also have their headquarters here in Neu-Ulm, which focuses on the clinical side of the business, along with preclinical in graphing, bioanalytical, bioanalysis, RNA and DNA, and just recently, literally about 2 to 3 weeks ago now, they acquired a business called Bayer, based in Berlin, which is going to be putting them on the map in terms of the drug discovery side and the chemistry side of the organisation. So really a business now, would you say, that is able to offer clients a kind of one-stop shop and cover all areas as a whole?
That's basically the message, yeah?
Perfect.
You got it straight.
Perfect. And in terms of Nuvisan as a whole, what I'm interested to do in terms of all of this is find out a little bit more about you, about the business. So how did you come into Nuvisan? What's your background? How did it all start?
Well, in a nutshell, it's a classical career. You study chemistry, you start with one of the big German companies at that time called Hoescht, now Sanofi. You go to the US, you become a general manager of a small subsidiary, a bigger one, and then you either become a board member or you get fired.
Yeah.
And so I was unfortunately fired, but got good severance payment. And at the end of the day, you reorient yourself with 50 into something else. I reoriented into private equity for a couple of years, and I came across the opportunity in the financial crisis of Nuvisan, was asked to run that show in 2010, and now after 10 years we are here. We started with something like 12-15 million euros in revenues, including the merger or let's say, I would say the integration of the Bayer activities in Berlin. We will have roughly 850 people with roughly 120 million euros in revenues, which is a matter of organic growth and mergers and acquisitions. And whatever we try to do is to extend the value chain. We were in the beginning, when I started, heavily dependent only on the clinic and on the bioanalytic, and you could say, well, there's two possibilities. Do only bioanalytic as a small lab, or try to grow the clinic, try to grow the bioanalytic, and add certain pieces to it, which makes sense. And the core of the business is certainly bioanalytic plus clinic, but now in the first place we acquired a small business in pharmaceutical analysis in near Dortmund from MSD, and we acquired the DMPK side of Merck, which gave us the opportunity to extend our value chain into preclinical. The key issue is that with the agreement, not only we got business with Merck in preclinical, but also in other core areas of Nuvisan, which was fairly important for us. So it's always a mixture. You know, there's something you help them, and something which is core for us to extend our business. We did the same kind of exercise with Nestle in 2018, and we do the same kind of exercise with Bayer in Berlin. They want to variabilize their research along our value chain. We do that we built the business by changing the current scope, which is 100% inside, to something like 30, 40, 20% inside and 60, 70% outside. So, which means, again, it's a change of paradigm. You are changing the scope of a business from a totally inside-oriented people into a task-oriented company which is working for more than one client. Of course, we will work with the competition of Bayer or of Nestle or of Merck. In the meantime, for example, our business at Nuvisan, at Grafing, which was a former Merck business, has a much smaller dependency on Merck, and has a 80% outside business and 20% ex-Merck business. So that is always the same story. You have to change it over a period of 3-4 years to something which is independent of the former owners, because the former owners might change their strategy. We want to have the quality assets and especially the quality people. And whenever we don't find enough quality people, we go to him, Mantell Associates, because all these businesses come without business development. Business development is, of course, a very important function, and that's your strength, Alessandro, where I can say that you have been instrumental in helping us to develop these functions which did not exist in the business.
Thank you.
And in Berlin, which is our business ex-Bayer, we will hire something like, would say between 40 and 80 people. Because these people came only as pure operations people. So there's missing administration, sales, controlling, finance, QA, and all these functions which you need to run a show. We try to do as much from Neu-Ulm, but Neu-Ulm is at its limit. And people, and that's the issue why I'm going through helpers like Alessandro, is our biggest resource. To be clear, when I started in industry, people did not treat employees well. Today, it's a totally paradigm shift.
What do you mean by didn't treat employees
well? They did not treat them well, they fired them, they changed them, they changed their jobs. Today, you have to hug them, and it's okay.
It's true. It's true.
It is different, and the objectives of the people are not necessarily a career, but a work balance. And a good employer. So for us, we want to have employees which are happy to work for Nuvisan, stay long with Nuvisan, develop their career with Nuvisan, and are having a balanced work life. That's basically what we as a company envision.
Perfect. Something which I want to ask you as well, because working in the job that I do at the moment, I see so often companies acquire other businesses, and then from my side as being a headhunter, we'll see immediately when that company takes over applications from people within that business looking to leave. Now, the sites that you've acquired, Grafing, Invitec in Berlin, other sites as well, Sophia Antipolis, Excelderma, all of these sites which you've done, we haven't had those types of applications. Speaking truthfully, how have you managed to integrate?
No, but it's very simple. I did not buy any people in sales. So if you have, for example, a merger of Charles River with Cytox or of other people in the same, let's say, market space, there's an overlap and there's redundancy.
Absolutely.
And I can envision the frustration of people being made redundant because of a merger which is mainly driven by synergies in operations. And we are not having synergies in operations. We are going into extending our value chain. we see actually no need to make people redundant.
Yeah.
It's because I'm a strong believer in growing a business instead of right-sizing a business. I have been doing right-sizing in the 90s and in the beginning of 2000 up to 2007.
What do you mean by right-sizing?
Right-sizing means downsizing.
Ah, okay, understood. So cutting costs within...
It's a cut cost and, but at the end of the day, you don't win with cost cutting.
Yeah.
You lose because you get so many frustrated people and you get so many negative vibes. Luckily, in our business, you have an organic growth of 15 to 20%, so you don't need to right-size.
Yeah, understood.
You just need to find the right people.
Yeah.
That's a much more important thing. Find the right people at the right time, think it through, have a good organization, have a vision in the organization, let the organization grow, let the organization be vivant. So let them develop themselves and let them not be feeling that they are not needed. They are all needed.
Yeah, understood. You said as well, just going back a little bit, that you took over Nuvisan back when it was in a point of financial crisis.
Yes.
What made you do that, and what made you take that risk? What did you see?
Well, you always see an opportunity, you do a business case and you calculate it backwards, forwards, and you say, well, at this kind of financial crisis, which was, let's say, end of 2009, in Germany, basically everything was in a crisis. So it could not go further down, and at that time, the government in Germany subsidized taking over company with paying, let's say, sending people for 6 to 9 months temporarily home. Yeah. They took 100% of the cost.
Wow.
The government in Germany. That helped us to get earlier out of the crisis than other countries. And that was the main momentum why Germany got very much better, especially in the automotive industry, because Germany did not have to lay off any person. Because it was paid by the government, the chômage technique. Yeah, so this is something you don't have in the UK, you have that.
Definitely not.
but this was a lucky punch. Let's see it this way.
What's the purpose of the business as a whole? What's your aim as a company?
The aim is to be a service provider to big pharma, mainly big pharma and biotechs, and we know that the pharma industry will continue to variabilize their cost, which means this business is growing automatically.
Yeah.
And since it is a family business, I have the intention to transfer that within the next 5 to 10 years to members in the family.
Understood, of course.
We don't sell it.
No, good. And in terms of something which I'm really interested in as a whole, because on my side I spend my days speaking with executives inside organisations and watching sometimes people who are leading companies of 200 people, 300 people, 10 people, small biotechs, and then you have your huge pharma companies. How much has your position changed since having to lead, obviously Nuvisan was much smaller? How do you adapt to leading that amount of people, and what's the strategy?
It's very simple. In the beginning you are more a micromanager.
Yeah. Really? Not a lot of people say that. A lot of people hate the word.
No, but I was at the beginning certainly a micromanager, looking at every order, seeing if it's right, if it's wrong.
Okay.
But it's micromanagement. And today I'm just giving the direction. But I still know everybody.
Yeah, I noticed.
That's great.
Yeah.
But it's a great metamorphosis. Yeah? You will always see with me an empty desk. And I'm not micromanaging anymore, let's say, if an order is left or right or this customer. I'm still interfering sometimes with things where I have the feeling there goes something wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't go very much into the detail.
Understood. So your position now is giving the organisation direction, and what is the direction of Nuvisan?
Direction is grow the business and develop the value chain, all from the molecule to the patient, all under one roof. That's the direction.
Amazing.
Very, very straightforward, try to sell turnkey projects.
You have companies which, of course, do, of all the areas that you guys do, you've got competitors in each of those areas, but I don't know of any other businesses that do every single part. You've got maybe...
Oh, sure, you have some certainly, but on a much bigger scale, you know. We cannot compete.
Of course, Covance, Charles River.
We cannot compete with Covance and Charles River and Q2, but we are on a smaller league, a family-owned business which is relatively strong in the DACH region. So Germany, Austria, Switzerland.
But now you're becoming more international.
Yeah, but we are still very much DACH region focused.
Okay.
Yeah, so for example, UK is for us not really a market.
Because of Brexit?
Because of Brexit, of course.
Really? Okay.
Unfortunately, yeah. So, but Scandinavia is a market, Asia is a market, DACH region is a market. Less is Spain, Portugal, and Italy. Well, we will see what the coronavirus will do on top of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
horrible.
well, salary, this is something you have to develop a contingency plan.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we've had it literally all over now. But in terms of leadership style, then you said that beforehand you were more of a micromanager. Now you're more giving direction. How do you run it and change your leadership as a business grows? So do you have because obviously you've got 850 people in
well,
business.
we have an executive committee of 12 people, and these 12 are all distinguished leaders, and they can run the business in their segment better than me.
Yeah.
Why should I do it?
No.
I have experts who are coming from big pharma, they know everything better in all details, they love to do it. And so give the power to the second and third layer of the people, that's fine, great.
Perfect.
We need to have still more women in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
No, we
True.
don't have enough leadership, female leadership, we have only
I got it, okay.
we have only 4 out of 12. Yeah, so we should have 6 and 6. Because then the behavior is better and everything, yeah? So from this point of view, and the female leadership is much more detail oriented than the males.
Think so? Wow.
Yes, absolutely.
You mentioned earlier about keeping people as opposed to making people redundant. How do you actually keep staff? So how does Nuvisan as a business, and for any company really, how do you go about keeping staff in a market like the one today?
Well, first of all, you have to have a good work environment. Secondly, give some incentives, give them, let's say, courses for sports, for a canteen, babysitting, and all these things which you need to have in order to grow your children when you're maybe a single parent or so. So think about all these things contingent on you will have a good team. And the spirit of the team is very important, because if you have a bad mood in the company, forget it. But if the mood is relatively consistent and good, people stay. Our turnover is very little.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah, it's extremely little. We need to have more and more young talent. So what we are doing, we are taking a lot of young talent from university and hire them. We will develop them, and if they love it at Nuvisan, they will stay. Some of them want to make a career, which I cannot prevent, then they go to big pharma.
Yeah, this life.
That's salary, yeah, but at the end of the day, I can see that my people are using Nuvisan as a springboard to develop their own career long term, which is okay.
But actually, it goes the other way as well, because you've had quite a lot of people join you from larger organisations as well.
It's a little bit a melange. It's maybe in sales, it's more from large organizations, but talent and our people are becoming project manager with 28 to 32, and they have PhDs, and of course they are developing, and if they have career ambitions, they go to Big Pharma, which is very close to us. But once they at Big Pharma, they say after a couple of would like to come back.
Yeah, because you've had quite a lot of people who have gone to Boehringer come back, other companies as well come back. So
which is normal, which I think is not a surprise anymore. Nothing is fixed in stone like when I started at Hoescht, where my father said, you have to go to Hoescht, Bayer or BASF, or you have a job for life. Unfortunately, my life was, the company was sold in 1996. So what? Yeah, I was not even 12 years there. So what? Yeah, but the life has changed, and it's nothing forever, and nothing is better than having some change, as long as you have a positive spirit. The key issue is have a positive spirit, and be in balance with your life and with your team. That's, I think, the most important thing.
So do you have a life genuinely outside of work?
Of course, every day. I go every weekend skiing. It's 2 hours from here. I go every weekend on the mountain.
So how do you manage to? Well, okay. Quickly before that, have you always managed to have that balance, or has there been periods?
I was always, but it's
really?
It's. The issue is, of course, there's times when you are more stressed than others. When I started management buyout, I was basically living in a garage, and 24/7 working. But
what do you mean by you were living in a garage? Can you explain that a little bit?
Basically I was close to be bankrupt.
Wow.
Yeah, but okay, this is the way.
So what actually happened? I'm interested. So
you put all your money into that, and then basically you cannot even pay your bills anymore. It's like when you start a company. That's normal. This is entrepreneurship. It's.
But you had a family. You did it at a different age, right?
But at the end of the day, the family did all their own things, and they were already making money. My kids. So what?
Yeah, unreal. We'll pause it because I think it runs out. Right, so there we go. That was good. There we go, perfect.